Yo, what's happening, guys? So a little bit of an introduction to the video. I'm going to be talking about the TV show Firefly. I've recently just watched this TV show. As I'm sure a lot of you will know, this is an old television show. It only got one series, but it became quite a cult classic. And now that I finally got around to watching it 20 years later, I can see why. It's a quirky show. It's a show about a ragtag group of people on a ship, a crew. Characters from all walks of life, even though it's only a small crew. There's probably about 8 members or something like that in total. But I just thought I'd talk about this show because, like I say, this is a show that's been around for 20 years. But having just watched it, in 2022, I watched it over the space of 2 weeks with my friend. I thought it was something worth talking about. I'm currently on the way to my friend's house now to watch the movie, or at least I think we're going to watch the movie Serenity, the follow-up movie. I just wanted to do this video now before I watch the movie. There's so much to say on this TV show, and having only watched it once, there's probably going to be a bunch of stuff that I don't get to. But if you guys want to comment down below any of your favourite moments, favourite characters, where you think the show would have gone, where you think the show should have gone, maybe I'll find out these answers when I watch the movie. But as of right now, I've only seen the 14 episodes that there is. But this is a really good show. It actually surprised me at how good it was. I've heard of Serenity for at least I've heard of the TV show Firefly for at least the past 10 years being mentioned on the internet. It's one of those things that's, like I say, it's got the cult following. It's very pop culture sort of thing. But like I was saying, I lost my train of thought there. But basically, this is a show that I think everyone should watch, especially if you like sci-fi. I recently just watched The Orville, and then I wanted to watch something else, so I went on to watch Firefly just to keep the sci-fi momentum sort of going. And it's a really fun TV show. Like I say, it's a ragtag group of individuals on this ship. You've got the captain, Mal, who's very I bet loads of people have said this before, but he's very Han Solo-like. But that almost seems like a disservice to call him Han Solo-like, because after spending 14 episodes with the Captain Mal, Malcolm Reynolds, is almost better than Han Solo. Each episode's about 45 minutes, times that by 14, you spend a lot of time with him, so he does gain his own identity, other than saying, it's just like Han Solo. There is quite a few Star Wars sort of similarities. I can't quite remember what the main government is in this universe, but they're very much similar to the Empire, only they're not quite as evil. Once again, we've only got 14 episodes, so I don't quite know how evil there was, but they were definitely the bad guys, not to be trusted, but the government sort of thing. Tons of storylines in this TV, or what felt like tons of storylines in this TV show where I wanted to know where it was going to go. Obviously, I'm guessing you guys have seen this show. You've got the brother and the sister. I was really interested in to see what was going on with the sister. And like I say, I know all these answers will probably get resolved in the movie. That's why I wanted to make this video now before I watch the movie, so you guys can get the perspective of someone who's only seen the TV show and knows very little about the series other than just what the 14 episodes of the TV show shows us. Another thing I thought I'd mention is when everyone does talk about this TV show, they mention that it got 1 season and then it was cancelled. But to me, it actually feels like it got half of a season. The way the 14th episode wraps up, it doesn't feel like a season finale. It feels like a mid-season finale. Now, that could be the case. Like I say, I haven't Googled anything on the show. That will be something that I Google to see if this was the mid-season finale and then they just stopped it and never came back for the other half a season. Or this was where they was planning on finishing off season 1. The only reason I say it don't feel like a full season finale, they do introduce kind of a new villain, a bounty hunter, but I feel like if it was really the full season 1 finale, it'd have had something to do with the girl and the government who's after her. You've got those 2 guys coming to Hands of Blue. I can kind of see why this. I don't want to say I could see why this show got cancelled, but there's a lot of stuff in there that's very quirky and almost cheesy, or I don't know if cheesy is the right word, although some of it is cheesy, but I think quirky is more kind of the right word. So the Men in Blue, Hands of Two, they only show up for 1 episode. They're mentioned in an episode previous, but they're basically just guys in suits with blue gloves on the hand, and then they have a device similar to like what you'd see in Men in Black, you know, the thing that Will Smith has where he holds it in front of you, but this thing seems to kill you. So these guys were very mysterious. They kind of look like the Blues Brothers. It's a weird show. And another thing that I thought I'd mention is Star Wars gets mentioned as the like a space western, but this is very much like a space western. Oftentimes I'd be watching one of the episodes, and it's almost like a western, but then they'd obviously introduce a spaceship or some sort of sci-fi element, but very heavy on the western. And obviously the reason that is because the terraform planet, so a lot of the planets are in early stages of civilization, similar to like the Western times or things like that. One of the other really interesting storylines that I was hoping to get more info on, and like I say, I'm sure I'm going to see it in the movie, but the preacher, what's going on with that guy? In the very first episode, he does something where like he gets someone with like a karate kick or something like that, and it's like, oh, okay, this guy's a preacher. And then every couple of episodes, it leads us further and further to believe that there's something behind this guy other than he's a preacher. So he's either going to be government, or he's going to be some sort of faction that we never got introduced to in the first 14 episodes, or maybe he's a bounty hunter himself and he's just waiting for his right moment. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the preacher. You know, there's a bunch of questions and answers I'm guessing we're going to find out in the movie. But yeah, for a 14 episode TV show, it's kind of like it's just getting going and then, oh no, that's it, it's gone. You've just got this one movie to watch and then it really is all gone. I'm actually surprised that I've never so when I started watching it, I've obviously heard the name Nathan Fillion loads of times over the years, but I've never actually seen him in anything. In fact, that's another thing that I need to do. I need to look up Nathan Fillion's filmography and see if he's been in anything, TV show or movie that I've seen before. Because other than, in fact, I have seen him in something. I've seen him in James Gunn, The Suicide Squad. But other than that, I'm pretty sure I've never seen this guy in anything, which is surprising because he's great. I'm surprised I'm surprised after Firefly he didn't get picked up and he were in loads of stuff, movies and TV shows. But as far as I know, this is the only thing where I've actually seen him in, and he was great. Everyone were really good in it, to be honest. I remember the first episode, I didn't think I was going to like him, but the doctor and his sister, I remember like not being too sure about them as far as characters go. But then by the end, it were like, oh yeah, I was totally on board with everybody, including the doctor and his sister, and I wanted to see where the characters go. But anyway, this has just been a video talking about Firefly. I keep wanting to call it Serenity. But I could probably talk about it for hours, and usually when I talk about things, I like to watch them a couple of times so I can really talk about it. I've only watched this TV show once. There's 14 episodes. I watched them over the space of about 2 weeks, maybe a little bit longer. So there's probably a bunch of stuff that I can't remember, but if I'm trying to think, there were some really good storylines that I wanted to see where they went, but for the most part, I guess it was just to do with the girl with like psychic powers and the preacher. I want to see what's really behind them two. In the very last episode as well, they did something where like they kind of teased that the girl had melted away and gone into the ship and she was now Serenity. This was a really interesting idea, but then they just rug pulled us in. Oh no, she was just on board the other ship. You guys will know exactly what I'm talking about if you've seen the show. If you haven't seen the show, that probably made absolutely no sense, but you know, it kind of felt like it'd be interesting to know if they knew where this show was going to go. Because there were so many kind of random ideas, but they were all good. Like I say, the biggest thing I can say about the show is it's quirky. The crew's quirky, the episodes are quirky, the storylines are quirky. But it's a really good show, and you could feel the heart of the crew, if that kind of makes sense. You know, I don't know how it was filming the show, but it came across like there was all a tight unit, and yeah, I guess that's just my thoughts on Firefly. And I did Google Firefly after, and I think it's the 20th year anniversary this year in 2022. I'm pretty sure it was released in 2002. So kind of interesting that I just so happened to watch it on the 20th anniversary. I thought I'd talk about it. You know, I'm sure this show's got loads of fans. This is just my opinion on the show after watching it the one time. I probably will watch this show again at some point in the future. You know, I might give it a couple of years and then revisit it. But, you know, it is such a shame that this thing didn't get multiple seasons. You know, I could have quite easily seen it going on for 5 seasons, 6 seasons. You know, it's one of those shows that was built on mystery. So the slower they reveal the mystery, the longer it can go on, or they can introduce new mysteries. But yeah, interesting show, really interesting characters. These characters that I didn't even talk about, you know, the captain, and I'm forgetting her name now, the female who's married to the pilot. You know, her and the captain spent time in the war together. You've got characters like Jane, where right in the first episode, you're like, oh, okay, can this guy be trusted? And then it shows again where it's like, okay, can this guy be trusted? And he keeps getting chance after chance from the captain. And I do think Jane can be trusted. Obviously, with one season, it's hard to say. Who knows? Maybe in season 2, he was going to do a real big double cross and become a bad guy. I doubt it, because he was, you know, Jane was like the muscle tough guy of the crew. It'd be a shame to see him actually become a bad guy. I'd have trusted him. I don't know if I'd have made the choices the captain makes, but, you know, as a viewer, I do trust Jane. There were just so many, like I say, the show felt like it was just getting started after 14 episodes, and it really was. And like I say, I feel like it got cancelled at the mid-season, but I could be totally wrong about that. It could have got one full season, and, you know, that's just how it was going to end. But so many interesting stuff. Also, the woman who plays, I'm forgetting all the names now, but the woman who plays the companion, I've seen her in a bunch of stuff as well. From she's in the TV show Gotham, she's in Deadpool 1, and you know, I don't even know where I'm going. That I just recognise her from there. She's almost ageless. She doesn't look like she's aged in 20 years. But there's also some like kind of weird, interesting storylines, like the whole companion storylines, and I don't know. Like I say, going back to it once again, it's just a really quirky TV show, but it's something that I enjoyed. And if I watch the movie and that I'm passionate to talk about that as well, I'll give you guys a part 2 or maybe a better sort of review of Firefly and things like that. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you're a fan of Firefly, hit the like button, subscribe, and hopefully we'll talk about it again in the future. And if for some reason you've not seen Firefly and you watched all this video, it's definitely worth your time. It's an early 2000s sci-fi show, but it's good. You're going to enjoy it. Yeah, definitely. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.